Hi, this is Annie from Phoenix Healing, and I was guided to start talking about my spiritual journey. Um, so I figured I'd do that today. It's probably going to be something that's developed and comes out in parts because it's not quite a simple uh, story or experience to share, as everyone's journeys are so unique. So without further ado, I'll begin with mine. Mine happened in November of 2020, though some stuff happened literally just near the end of October 2020. Of course, 2020, that whole year was kind of chaotic for, I would assume, most people. So at that time, I was finishing up, like in fall 2020, I was finishing up working 4 years in a mental health um, hospital. I had about 10 years of experience of working in various fields of healthcare. So at that point, I had already had 5 years of mental health experience under my belt. I was finishing up in the last year of my master's degree in health services administration. So there was a lot of things going on, and happening for me. So it was quite interesting, when my spiritual awakening happened, because it definitely completely changed everything that I thought I knew and what I actually had thought was stable, which is ironic considering 2020 is the year of four, and four is all about stability as well and that foundation. It's also the teacher number two, but it was really stands for security and stability and that structure with foundation. So what ended up happening was, for me, it was the it was like the last week really of October 2020. And what ended up happening, I went in there for my regular shift at the hospital, and I've never had this experience or had this happen where I stepped put both feet into the lobby. And it was like, once I was fully in the lobby, the best thing I can explain it is that there was like an energy shift. It was almost like the veil was lifted. It felt like I was in this twilight zone, because I definitely felt like the separation of two worlds. Like, that's the best way I know how I can explain it now. At the time, I really didn't know how to explain what was happening. And all of a sudden, I heard, "You're going to lose your job today, but it's going to be okay." And I'm like standing in the lobby, like, what the hell? Like, am I losing my mind here? And then I go upstairs to my office area, and I check my email, and there is an email that was sent hours prior from HR, Human Resources, wanting to see me at the end of my shift. And so right away, I just knew what just transpired downstairs was not my imagination. That was real. And when I went to the meeting with HR at the end of my shift, they indeed told me they were downsizing and I was being let go. Um, so that I was, needless to say, I was kind of shocked, because throughout 2020, I did so much for the hospital at the time. I definitely at that point, people pleaser. And just wanted to make sure people that came in for services were okay, because I have a really big heart, and I want to just make sure people are okay, especially in that type of field with mental health. And so I was a little shocked after all the work and dedication I put forth in 2020 that happened. But now I know everything happens for a reason. Within less than a couple weeks, ironically, right before 11/11, I went into twin flame separation, and that really did a number on me. I was laying on this couch for 5 days, just crying profusely. I wouldn't eat. I didn't really sleep. It was just literally like this death. Like, you have no idea what's like happening. It's a completely different pain you've ever really felt. And I just didn't know what the hell was happening. And then later on, I remember it was like middle of November. I remember for the first time really taking out my oracle cards because I was getting guided to them at that point, but I still didn't really have any deep knowledge on that, only because I didn't think I had skills or talents or connection to really get information. And I remember that the card that flew out that was a big thing of guidance was the Blessing in Disguise card. And then I remember then feeling later in that month things happening with my body that I felt even more that I was like this energetic, like dying heart, just that pain. And but it's more so at that point, like so much energy, like the energies. And so basically then leading up into December of 2020, it seemed at that point between that end of November 2020 to early December 2020, even more of what I thought was secure was falling apart. It got really hard for me to even finish what I needed to finish for fall semester. And the reality was, is like, I didn't finish it. I was grateful that my professors and my chair granted me extensions because they knew I was a really good student. I was a hard worker and I also had some health issues. So they were more than happy to grant me extensions. So that got taken care of school wise, but still it was almost like my passion was like immediately gone. I just wanted to be a hospital administrator. I wanted to work in healthcare setting. And I felt like my job or like what I was supposed to do, my career was supposed to be like sitting behind a desk and helping people in that administrative type role. And then it was like everything I thought I knew just, completely shattered. Relationships started to completely disappear. People that I have known my whole life, people I've known since, my teenage years, people started just falling away. And it's one of those things like you have no idea what's happening to you and what's happening around you because everything you thought you knew was just like collapsing down. It's like being destroyed in front of you. You're just like, what is happening? And I just remember, I think it was like that beginning of December even, where I took out my cards again. And I got the energy work card and I was like, what the hell is this? Because energy work. I was just like, what is this? I'm not familiar with this. I didn't know what that was. And it said, look into, healing with energy work and then being able to help others as an energy healer facilitator. And I was like, okay, don't really know what this was, didn't think much of it at all. And at that time there was still more collapsing of people falling away, friendships just completely like finito, dunzo, done, like absolutely done. And it took me a really long time to even to realize, okay, these were like karmic friends, and obviously now I know like part of that karmic loop of people just kept coming back, in and out of one's life until you finally get the lesson. And once you get cracked open to get awakened, just people who no longer align to your highest self or your highest timeline, that's they fall away, which is what was happening. And so at one point, I remember even sitting here on my couch and thinking, what is going on? And because I was very much in hermit mode at that time, I felt a lot of my guidance that was coming through was through my computer, like when I was online. Little things that pop up here and now and then.